Have you ever felt like you're just talking to AI? You ask it questions, it gives you answers. But what if you could get it to stop talking and start building things for you? Well, stick around because we're about to dive into a powerful, kind of under-the-radar technique that does exactly that. I mean, really think about that for a second. We're not talking about just writing a better email or summarizing an article. We're talking about an AI that creates the actual data-driven guts of a website or an app, automatically. It's a total game changer, and honestly, it's way more accessible than you might think. And this is how it starts, right? That little moment of discovery. This whole idea isn't about some fancy new billion-dollar AI model. Nope, it's about a simple but really clever technique that completely reframes how we tell AI what to do. It turns it from a chatty partner into a tireless builder. And that technique is called the GIF framework. And no, not the looping images we all love to send in group chats. This GIF could be just as revolutionary, but for anyone who builds and creates things online. So let's break down what it actually is. GIF actually stands for JSON Intelligence Framework. Okay, I know, the name sounds a little technical, but the idea behind it is so simple. You take a smart AI, you give it access to the live internet, and this is the most important part. You force it to give you back its answers in a perfectly structured format called JSON. Just think of JSON as a universal language for computers. It's like a perfectly organized spreadsheet that your application can read and use instantly, no cleanup required. So, the magic recipe is really just this simple three-step formula. First, you pick your AI brain, like a Claude or a GPT. Second, you give it eyes and ears by hooking it up to a live web search tool. And then third, and this is the secret sauce, you give it a strict set of rules for how it has to answer you. That's it. That's the entire foundation. All right, theory is great and all, but let's see how this thing actually performs in the real world. We're going to look at 4 different examples, starting pretty simple and then building up to something incredibly complex, all powered by this one core idea. So for our first example, imagine you want to build a directory on your website. Let's say a list of all the best web hosting providers. It sounds simple enough, but that kind of project usually involves a ton of tedious, soul-crushing manual work. And this is where it gets crazy. The old way, we're talking weeks of mind-numbing copy-pasting, checking if URLs are still valid, formatting everything by hand, it's a mess. The GIF way, you write one single prompt. The AI goes out, scours the web, gathers all the data, structures it perfectly, and just hands you a clean file ready to go. What used to take weeks, now literally takes minutes. Okay, let's level up. What if you need more than just a list of facts? What if you need some actual analysis, maybe even a score? That's exactly what was needed for this next project, a YouTube keyword research tool that had to estimate data that YouTube doesn't even make public. This right here, this is the intelligence part of the JSON Intelligence Framework. The AI wasn't just grabbing data. It was asked to analyze things like, how fresh is this trend? What's its viral potential? And that analysis made up a whole 30% of the final keyword score. The AI is doing real, actual analytical work and then just handing it over in that perfect, structured format. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds amazing, but I'm not a Python developer. Or hey, maybe you are. The beautiful thing about this framework is that it's all about the logic behind it, not the specific tool you happen to be using. So if you're a coder, sure, you can build this right into your app using standard Python libraries. But for all the no-coders out there, you can use visual automation tools like NN to do the exact same thing. You just drag and drop a few boxes, tell it what you want, and boom, you get the same clean, structured JSON back. It really democratizes this whole process. And now, for the grand finale. This isn't just a small feature or a little tool. This is an entire website called Exploding Startups, which is a directory of validated business ideas, and it's powered almost entirely by this GIF technique. Just look at what's happening here. The system automatically finds new business ideas, it validates them, and it scores each one on things like market demand and risk. The manual research for just one of these ideas could take a person a whole week. Now it's an automated weekly update. Every single metric you see on that site is a direct output from a GIF-style prompt. Incredible. So we've seen what it can do, but let's talk about why it's so effective. What's the real secret sauce here? Well, it all comes down to the simple but profound power of demanding structure. This slide right here is the key to everything. See, most of us use AI as a chatbot. We ask a vague question like, tell me about, and we get a vague paragraph of text back. It's a talker. But when you use the GIF method, you're treating the AI like a database.
You give it a super precise command, generate a JSON record for, and you get back a clean, predictable, machine-readable file. You've just turned your AI from a talker into a builder.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how can you start using this right now? The great news is, you don't need a huge budget or a team of engineers. You can start playing around with this with just a couple of simple tools and a clear idea of what you want to build.
Here's your simple roadmap. First, find an idea. Use a research tool like Perplexity to hunt for interesting data sources out there. Second, set up your engine. A tool like Agent Router can make it really easy to connect different AI models to web search. And third, just run your first prompt using that magic formula: AI plus web search plus a forced JSON structure. Start small, and I promise you'll be amazed at what you can create.
Honestly, this feels like the future of building things with AI. It's not about just talking to it anymore. It's about giving it jobs to do. The tools are here, the technique is surprisingly simple, and the AI is basically ready to be your personal back-end developer. So the only real question left is, what are you going to create?